You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.
Good morning.
Oh no. You're muted, Hector. You're muted. Let me say good. Oh, there he is.
6. Sorry, not sure if you
I
could
was
hear
gonna
me.
do a Hector impression. Good morning, Yankees
Good
universe.
morning, Yankees universe. Sorry that my headphone just died, and when my headphone dies, it messes up my soundboard for me. So I do apologize. Shout out to all you Yankee fans. Grace Monroe, how you doing? Talk to the people while I get my headphone.
I'm doing great. I'm laughing because backstage I was just telling Hector that last night I had a dream about Aaron Judge. I was hanging out with Aaron Judge and we were like cracking open a beer in the middle of a doubleheader. Like he was about to go out and play again. And we're hanging out and we're like walking around the field drinking a beer, and Samantha, his wife, his lovely wife, was like getting super mad, and I was like, no, Samantha, you don't understand. I'm happily married. I'm just a huge Yankees fan. And I was just stressed in my dream trying to explain to Samantha, like, no, it's not like that. I just love the Yankees and I love baseball. And that was my stupid dream. Anyway, I'm dreaming about baseball. I need this season to start. I might be going crazy. Hector, what was your dream?
My dream was, and I'm sorry, I just got a text message from my editor at Latino Sports. Gleyber Torres is still crying about the Yankees. That's fucking hilarious. My dream was, I had a dream that the Boston Red Sox traded Rafael Devers to the Colorado Rockies, and I had Grace dying backstage because I said that is the most LI Yankee King dream I've ever had in my life. That's why she almost died backstage before we came on. And I think that's why my headphone died also, because it couldn't register that I just said that shit.
No, that's what I'm saying. We need baseball to start. We need official baseball to start because we're obviously a little too much. We're having these crazy dreams.
Yes. Crazy dreams. We love the madness. We love the insanity. But my headphone is back. I got my soundboard working. Let's shout out the chat. We got Old Sarge in the building. Shout out to Old Sarge. I miss my guy, Old Sarge. Hope all is well. And we got my guy, Anthony Medina, mi hermano de la Islas, in the building. Anthony, how you doing? Hey, Becker's in the building. Yo, Becker, if you want, you could drop the link to the Discord in the chat. And I got to shoot you a message. We got to talk about some Discord stuff. Shout out to Becker in the building. Appreciate Becker. Tina's in the building. Tina, how you doing? Seston is in the building. Shout out to Seston. Nathaniel Crenshaw, the only Dodger fan in our life we love is our good friend Nathaniel Crenshaw. Nathaniel, how you doing? Theo Nosebleed section is in the building. Theo Nosebleed, how you doing? Our good friend Jonathan is in the building. Jonathan, a.k.a. Mr. Wake Your Ass Up and Do Your Job. Jonathan is in the building. Shout out to my guy, Jonathan. Of course, it's myself, Hector, and I'm joined by Grace Monroe. We have the Paranormal Funhouse in the building. Grace, the Yankees were off yesterday. I know it's spring training. I know we're losing our marbles waiting for the season to start.
Yes.
But I want to toss it over to you, because I know you got something to get off of your chest. Do you want to start off there? Where do you want to start the conversation, Grace? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the gunshots, Grace? Are we starting the conversation off with the Texas gunshots?
You know what? Okay, I'm at the point in spring training where I'm annoyed now. Okay, at the beginning, it's great. You know, we love to see the games and we love to see these, you know, kids that probably won't be on the opening day roster, right? Get their chance, and it's all fun and games, right? But then it comes to a point when I'm ready for the season to go ahead and start, because Yankees fans and everybody are losing their minds because some players hit a couple home runs or a couple doubles, and now they think that they're a Major League Baseball player and that they're ready to play for the New York Yankees. And this is not the case. Respectfully, respectfully, I'm going to try to say this respectfully. I made a few notes and I brought some evidence to the show today on why Spencer Jones still has some kinks to work out before he gets called up to the major leagues. Now, I want to say respectfully, I hope Spencer Jones turns into the best baseball player that the New York Yankees have ever had, because I love the Yankees and I want us to win all the time. I want us to be the best and I want us to be the greatest, okay? However, I have some serious concerns about Spencer Jones' game thus far. He can work on these, improve them, and join the major leagues, and I'll be just tickled pink, okay? But I want to say that I was listening to the Michael Kay show yesterday. Hector, we have some clips to play at some point about what Michael Kay found out. He called some scouts. Now, this could be Yankee scouts or it could be scouts from other clubs, because other clubs send their scouts to minor league camps all over the country, because these are the players that the clubs are going to try to sell you on, and they want to have their own information on the players, not just believe what is spoon-fed to them about how much trade value this player has. But Michael Kay called some scouts and asked them specifically about Spencer Jones and George Lombard Jr., two players who've had a great week in spring. And now people on Twitter, people all over are clamoring for them to get the third base starting job or to get the outfield job or the DH job while Giancarlo's out. And Spencer Jones has a major hole in his swing, a major hole in his game. His strikeout rate, I know we've been talking about this, but it's you guys, it's serious. It's not like hyperbolic. It's not a joke. His strikeout rate is Joey Gallo level strikeout rate. And I brought the numbers, okay? And we'll play the clip of Michael Kay in a second. Joey Gallo, the lowest batting average of any Yankee of all time, who has a career strikeout rate of 39%. And I don't need to tell y'all that. We watched him play, okay? But in AA, because Spencer Jones hasn't not played a single game at AAA. He's not been to AAA. He's only been to AA. So I can compare their AA numbers. In AA, Joey Gallo had 179 strikeouts in 1 year. Spencer Jones had 200. Okay? Now, a 37% strikeout rate is extremely alarming. Okay? Okay? Now, some people say AA is the hardest level to adjust to, right? But let me go on. When Joey Gallo went to AAA before he got called up, he only had 25 plate appearances in AAA. He got called up quick, right? The Texas Rangers, no offense, don't have the luxury that the New York Yankees have of allowing players to season themselves and get the reps, because they don't have the money that we have to fill the holes in our team without calling up kids before they may be ready, okay? That being said, Joey Gallo only had 25 plate appearances in AAA. He had 19 strikeouts. He set a record of a 76% strikeout rate, which was the worst of any player of all time in the minor leagues that wasn't a pitcher, okay? Now, it's kind of an inflated statistic. It was only 25 plate appearances, right? But he got called up because he had good defense and he could pop home runs. And that never went away for Joey Gallo. But what never also went away for Joey Gallo was his strikeout rate, okay? So he led the majors in strikeouts when he came up to the league. And that continued, and we know the rest of the story. Okay, so now, Spencer Jones, Joey Gallo, they're different players, okay? I get it. They're different people, they're different times, whatever. But if we don't learn from our past mistakes, what are we doing? And I don't want to hear anybody screaming for Spencer Jones and then later hating Spencer Jones because of what I'm telling you right now and because of what the scouts are telling you right now. This is the data on Spencer Jones. He can hit homers. He can make contact with the ball, but he's going to strike out half of his plate appearances, if not more, and it will hurt the team. He's not ready. He's got some things to work on. He's got potential, but he's got some things to work on. Heck, I mean, you want to play the clip from Michael K?
Yeah.
Can?
Yeah, I'll play the clip. And, to piggyback off what Grace is saying, right? When it comes to Spencer Jones, he has the potential of being a solid major league player. He has the potential. He has a ceiling. There's a caveat in there that we also got to remember that he was also a pitcher going into college, right? He was a two-way player in college. And Spencer Jones, this has been the first offseason, and everyone put this concept or context into perspective. This has been the first offseason since high school. Spencer Jones has been able to work and train and work on his craft and not have to worry about rehabbing an injury. Spencer Jones, as great as he looked in spring training, he is playing against AA and low A pitching and high A pitching. He's not facing major league pitching. And yes, the same thing goes for George Lombard Jr. Spencer Jones has yet to play any games at AAA. We don't know what Spencer Jones is going to be at AAA. He's making the most of his opportunities. I don't want to take everything away from him. I want to give him some flowers. He is making the most of his opportunities, because if he was batting 129 instead of 429 in spring training, the conversation would be a hell of a lot different for Spencer Jones. Is he ready right now to crack the big league roster? Absolutely not. He is not ready to crack the big league roster. He looks amazing, right? I know there's some argument. Well, Anthony Volpe, he only played a handful of games before making it to the big league roster when he had a good spring training as two different players. And our need at the shortstop position was a hell of a lot bigger than our need for a corner outfielder or a center fielder. If Cody Bellinger, knocks on wood, if he gets injured and he's gone for a long time and misses the season, maybe there's a case to let Spencer Jones start the season with the big league roster and crack it that way. But that's a big ass hypothetical, and that's a big ass if. Randy Miller is he put it out there. Brian Cashman it started a press conference around like 10:30, 10:45. So as soon as we get some clips, we'll play it. But I want to play that clip that Grace was talking about from the Michael K show. So I have it queued up right here. Just to let everybody know, just to let YouTube know, we do not own the media that we are about to play. What we're going to do is we're going to review it. We're going to give a spin on it, and we're breaking it down because it's news. Regardless if it's pop culture or sports, it is still newsworthy. I just got to throw that in there for the copyright claim for YouTube.
Because if you look at his numbers in the minors last year, wow, a lot of swing and miss ability in there. Almost half the at-bats he struck out. And one scout told me, no, he's still the same. He still has holes to close up. He is probably not a viable option for the Yankees in 2025. He's got a world of physical talent. He's got speed. He could play center field with anybody. He could steal 40 bases if he could get on enough. Now, he's got power when he runs into the ball, but he doesn't run into the ball enough. So probably not an option for this year. All right. So that's Spencer Jones.
And that's Michael K. And normally Michael K. is very down the middle when it comes to the Yankees. Very down the middle, where a lot of people like to call him a company man and stuff like that. Listen, Michael K. is the voice of the Yankees, and he's the voice of the Yankees that I grew up listening to, right? So if Michael K. is letting you guys know that about Spencer Jones, there's something to it, right? I'm gonna just add on to this. At some point, can he improve on his stats that he had last year? Absolutely. If he starts the year in AA, he's going to start the season in AA, and then he's going to move his way up to AAA. And depending on what he does at AAA, we will have this same conversation next year in 2026. But as of 2025, Spencer Jones being the savior for the New York Yankees, I don't think it's something that anybody should have on their bingo card.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree. And with that being said, hope Spencer Jones has a great season. And I wouldn't be opposed to looking at him as a trade chip. No offense, Because if he had such an incredible spring and his trade value might be up more than it has been, his trade value absolutely plummeted last year. They tried to include him in several trade packages and nobody was interested. Okay, I'm just saying.
I would say I'm not interested. It's the Yankees. The Yankees weren't willing to give him up in any trades, just like George Lombard Jr. Like the Yankees could have had Corbin Burns if they traded Spencer Jones, and the Yankees said no. And when you look at it, they got Max Fried.
At the trade deadline. At the trade deadline, they were including him in talks with the Cubs and the White Sox.
Because he was injured. Nobody wanted to take on an injured player at the time.
He had a horrible year in Double-A. He had a horrible year. He broke minor league records and franchise records for strikeouts in Double-A. He had a horrible season, and his trade value. The Yankees had his trade value up here, and other teams had his trade value down here. So what I'm saying is, if he's had a great spring and he's looking great, and his trade value is up, now might be the time to look at assessing, or maybe at the trade deadline, if he brings his trade value up a little bit more, that might be a good time to look at capitalizing off of the value. When we have Cody Bellinger, who can play center field. We have Jason Dominguez, who can play center field. We have Trent Grisham, who can play center field. We have Oswaldo Cabrera, who can play center field. We have Aaron Judge, who can play center field. We have Everson Pereira, who can play center field. We have all these guys who can play center field. We have a little.
But the difference, and this is why Brian Cashman values Spencer Jones more than Cody Bellinger, more than Trent Grisham. It's because he's young and he's cheap.
But
he's making league minimum. Yes. No. That, and I think that's why the Yankees will hold on to Spencer Jones and not trade him. They're trying to bank on him being a prospect or being a big league player for the future. Last year coming out of spring training, Baseball America, all the scouting, all the rankings were in love with Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones hurt his hamstring coming out of spring training. Spencer Jones hurt his elbow coming out of spring training. So last year, his minor league numbers, yes, on paper, they look objectively horrible. But we got to put in the context that he was battling 2 major injuries after having a phenomenal spring training. And when you look at the last 2 months of the year in the minors, a lot of people like to look at that as a sample size of what Jones could be, because he was a 293 hitter for the last 2 months of spring training, and his strikeout rate came down for like close to 50% to 40%, right? So in the last 2 months of the season, he was more around a 29%, 30% strikeout guy at the plate. So we don't know if that 2 month sample size, if that's just a blip on the radar or if that's actually Spencer Jones. So I think for the Yankees, they're going to roll the dice and see this year. If Spencer Jones is a bust this year, they'll move on for Spencer Jones. They just want to see how he is in a full healthy season, if you get what I'm saying.
I do get what you're saying, and I understand the philosophy of the Yankees. But for Grace Monroe, I don't care. I want to win a World Series now with Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and Garrett Cole. That's what I want. So I don't give a shit if Spencer Jones is going to be great in 2 years. I want to win now because Aaron Judge is on a timer, Garrett Cole's on a timer, and Giancarlo Stanton is definitely on a timer. And that time is running out, okay?
Yeah.
So for me, I get what you're saying, and you're right, and I get where the Yankees are coming from with that as well. I just disagree. I just disagree with that philosophy because we got to go all in. And I don't care about 2027 right now. You know what I mean? I'm just very, me personally, I'm just very reluctant of the prospect trading and to trade the prospects and stuff like that. I get it. We're trying to win, but it's let's jump in a time machine, right? Let's jump in a time machine 12 years ago in 2013, after Derek Jeter retired and before we found the replacement in Didi Gregorius. There was a trade on the table with the Atlanta Braves, and this video is getting circulated in social media and is running wild, and I'm not sure if you saw it. There was a trade on the table to replace Derek Jeter with the Atlanta Braves. The Yankees were going to get back Andrelton Simmons to be their shortstop, Jason Hayward to be their right fielder,
David Carpenter as a reliever, and some other player that was thrown in there. I forgot his name. And do you know the prospects that were supposed to go back to Atlanta, Grace? They were Gary Sanchez, Luis Severino, and Aaron Judge. And at the last second, before the deal was all signed and made official, Brian Cashman said no, and he pivoted to Didi Gregorius. What would Yankee fans have done if they would have traded Aaron Judge, who was striking out at a 45% rate in Double-A? What if we would have done if we would have traded Aaron Judge to the Braves and he turned out into the player that he turned into? And granted, in 2013, Aaron Judge was the same age as Spencer Jones is right now.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And this is why when it comes to, and I know, shout out to my guy, Jimmy Randazzo, who loves saying it, hug your girlfriend, not your prospects. I understand that. But when it comes, and this thing, Aaron Judge was never ranked as the next coming of Dave Winter. He didn't have the Yankees hype in the minor leagues like Gary Sanchez did, like Luis Severino did, like Clint Frazier, like all the other Yankee prospects. Aaron Judge did not have that hype train behind him. And if Yankee fans would have traded Aaron Judge to the Braves and the Braves had Aaron Judge and Ronald Acuna, Yankee fans would have been at the front gates of Yankee Stadium calling for Brian Cashman's head.
Yeah,
and we all know that.
And that's why I'm not the general manager, because I cannot think without my love of the team and my fandom and my heart being involved. Because I want to win. I want to win now.
Same.
And I want it for Garrett Cole, and I want it for Giancarlo Stanton.
Yes.
Bad. And this might be the last chance.
There are some moves that like, if you, hindsight is 20/20, hindsight 50/50, however you want to look at it. But when you look at it, right, there are some moves that you wish Brian Cashman would have made when it comes to prospects. Not trading Eduardo Nunez for Cliff Lee, that's a mistake. Not trading Miguel Andujar and Clint Frazier for Garrett Cole in 2017 instead of Sonny Gray, that was a mistake, right? There's some mistakes that when it comes to trading prospects, you wish that your GM would hit and make those trades. But then there's some that you're like, woo, I'm glad he ain't make that trade. Woo! I'm glad it ain't happened, because what would Yankee fans have done in 1996 going into Derek Jeter's rookie year when Mario Duncan broke his arm in spring training? What would Yankee fans have done when George Steinbrenner wanted to trade Mariano Rivera to Detroit for their shortstop because he didn't think Derek Jeter was ready to start the year in the big leagues? And everybody was like, no. Derek Jeter is ready to start, and we need this young kid Mariano. What would Yankee fans have done?
Yeah.
If we would have traded the greatest closer in the world, Mariano, to the Tigers?
I hear you, but you could also go, what would Yankee fans have done 4 years from now, and say the same thing, that if we hadn't made this trade, we wouldn't have won the World Series number 28 in 2025. And then what would Yankee fans have done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could say it for anything, but I hear you. You're making great points. But I still feel the way I feel, which is win now and figure out the rest later.
I would say there's one last point, and then we move over to the next topic. Another trade that the Yankees did, and yes, at the time, Yankee fans, I myself, a young Yankee fan, was all for it, was trading for Randy Johnson. Do you know what we gave up for Randy Johnson? We gave up an all-star closer all-star catcher by the name of De'Aaron Navarro for Randy Johnson to Arizona. And we almost messed up because we were going to send Robinson Cano instead of Navarro. But at the last second, the Diamondbacks said they wanted a catcher instead of a second baseman because they had second base prospects on the rise. So Yankee fans, I know we always want to trade prospects, but just look at the look in the past and look what happened. Hey, how about if the Yankees would have never traded for Aaron Boone if we would have kept Mike Lowe and not traded Mike Lowe away? The Yankees had Mike Lowe in their system, and we traded him away for some doo-doo reliever who didn't do jack shit for the Yankees.
Doo-doo. I'm rubbing off on Hector, y'all. I'm rubbing off on Hector. I want y'all to know.
I just got to say, we got over We got over 80 people in the building watching us right now, over 40 people on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. On YouTube, we are sitting at, hold on, let me get the official number. This morning, we was at 4,860 subscribers, 140 away from 5K. Help us out. And like my guy, the Big Jappo said, you guys remember the White Sox traded Fernando Tatis Jr. for big game James Shield. Go ahead, Grace. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it happens. There's bad trades. There's also great trades, but if you have a World Series championship at the end, and this is the best case scenario, right? Is you trade Spencer Jones, you get, I don't know, an amazing bat, you go through the postseason, you win the World Series, right? And then you're looking back saying the next year, man, I wish we still had Spencer Jones, but we had a World Series championship, so I'm not that sad. But anyways, talking about the kids, I do want to bring up one more guy that a lot of people are talking about. Heck, You know who I'm talking about. I keep pointing the wrong way. You know who I'm talking about. There is a hole in our, there is an unknown, I should say, not a hole, an unknown in our lineup, and that is third base. Who is going to play third base? What are the Yankees going to do? And there is a young kid, 19, the delicate age of 19 years old, who is lighting it up in spring training. Lighting it up in spring training, and a lot of Yankees fans, the buzz is real. Now, the difference between George Lombard Jr., let me just throw something in here, and Heck is going to get mad. Teams are calling, asking about George Lombard Jr., and nobody's calling, asking about Spencer Jones. Okay, but shots fired. You heard it. All right. Yeah, yeah. Give me the sound. Give me the sound effect. George Lombard Jr. And we have the clip from the Michael K show because he made a call about what the scouting report is on George Lombard Jr.
I'll go find that clip right now as you talk.
Okay.
Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay. He is a 19-year-old kid, first round draft pick, barely had any time in high A, and he's been lighting it up with his defense, lighting it up with his base running, lighting it up, and just being an amazing kid, great teammate. He's been hanging around, basically shadowing Aaron Judge all spring. There's been just tons of photos of him picking Aaron Judge's brain. He casually called him, capping me, in an interview that I saw, which was very, very cool. He's got an MLB pedigree. His father is the bench coach for, who is it? The Braves? Help me out. His father is the bench coach for the Braves? Who is he the bench coach for?
He was with the Tigers, if I'm not mistaken.
Tigers?
I believe the Tigers.
Okay, Tigers. My bad. So his father is the bench coach for the Tigers and also played in Major League Baseball. And he also has a younger brother who's apparently incredible, who I think is still in high school, who will be coming up soon. But he's an amazing, amazing guy, and everybody's buzzing about him, rightfully so. And he's an infielder, can play third base. Now, do you have the clip ready, Hector?
Yes, I do. I just got some.
About him?
No, Brian Hoke just tweeted out right now. Luis Hill was sent to New York for additional testing. Brian Cashman told the media, I hope that Hill will be back sometime in the summer, with Cashman estimating that Luis Hill would be out at least for 3 months. So just put that in record that Luis Hill will be out for 3 months. I got the clip right here. Breaking news, talking about George Lombard Jr.
Around baseball, and he looks stronger than he did last year. He's hit a couple of home runs. According to a couple of scouts that I spoke to, he's a plus defender. Right now, today, on March 5th, he could play Major League shortstop. That's how good he is. Right now, today, he could play Major League second base. And right now, today, he could play Major League third base. Not just serviceably, but at a high plus defensive level. That's how good he is. Great feet, great range, really good arm. One scout told me he is the equal defensively to Anthony Volpe right now. And Anthony Volpe's a Gold Glove winner 2 years ago. So to say he's the equal and he's 19 years old, that's pretty darn good. Now, he's not taking Anthony Volpe's job. He might end up at third base maybe sometime next year. So the people I spoke to, I said, is there any chance, because the Yankees usually don't do stuff like this, is there any chance that he can make the team at 19? Because they need a third baseman, right? And the answer was not likely. He's not going to start the year with the team. In all likelihood, he will not be called up at any point this year. But he is so good, and he's on the come, that he could actually show up in 2026. Don't know if he'd start the year with them, but he could show up sometime during 2026.
At 20.
And
at 20.
At 20. And I remember being on the show when I was saying that. And when I kept hyping up George Lombard Jr., people kept calling me Lulu. People kept saying, you don't know what you're talking about. Last year at the trade deadline, when people kept saying we should trade for Yandy Diaz and Pete Fairbanks, and the only prospect the Tampa Bay Rays were calling for was George Lombard Jr. And I said, hell, absolutely no. He is the only one that's in the system that is untradeable. When you look at George Lombard Jr., like Michael K said, defensively, he could play at third base, he could play at second base, and he could play at shortstop at the major league level. Defensively, shout out to my guy John Brophy, dope individual. He does work with NYYU and for other outlets that are out there. But Brophy and I was having a conversation about George Lombard Jr. when I was at spring training, and this is what Brophy said on Twitter yesterday. Again, shout out to the good guy John Brophy. He said, a friendly reminder that George Lombard Jr. has only played 119 games in a full season. And only 29 of those games were in high A. 90 games were in low A Tampa. Lombard and Spencer Jones alike are nowhere near ready for the major league level. When it comes to his bat, George Lombard Jr., he's not ready to hit at the major league level. Defensively, he can definitely pick it at the major league level. If the Yankees right now were the Chicago White Sox, then there's an argument to let George Lombard Jr. make the big league roster so he can learn at the major league level. If the New York Yankees were the Oakland Athletics, the Florida Marlins, there's an argument for that. But with the New York Yankees trying to compete for the AL East, trying to compete for the playoffs and for the World Series, there's no way that you could just throw a 19-year-old kid into that pressure cooker and expect him to succeed. Anthony Volpe was a little bit different because Anthony Volpe was a little bit older, more seasoned, more time in the minors. Let George Lombard Jr. cook, marinate. He will be ready when he is ready, but not now.
The adjustment that batters make at AA is so important. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a period of learning and the pitchers adjusting to you and then you adjusting back to them. That is so important for when you make the jump to MLB, because that same thing is going to happen at the MLB level that happened to you at AA. The difference between AA and AAA is not as much of a difference as the difference between high A and AA, or the difference between AAA and Major League Baseball. Yeah. And so it's anyway, I don't want to get into too much of that, but but the scouts say, and former Major League players, shout out to Joshua Palacios, the right fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He says if you could, AA is where they test to see if you could hit at the major league level. They like to keep some guys at AAA because it's like a back and forth shuttle to the major league level. But if you can succeed at AA, you're more than likely can succeed at the major league level. If that what you was trying to say, Grace. Sorry about that. No, you're great. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to be too country, okay? But go with me on this. If you've ever grown a tomato or something in your garden, okay, and you have this tomato and it's growing and it's getting bigger and it's getting bigger, and you're like, God, I want to pick it. I want to eat it. But you're like, no, let me leave it. Let me let it get even bigger. Let me let it get even juicier. And then you wait, and you finally pick it. It's going to taste so much better than it would have if you'd have picked it a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier when it was still ready to be picked, perhaps, but not as good as if you waited, right? Yeah. Now, this analogy that I'm taking y'all on, thanks for entertaining a country girl from Texas. You can also let vegetables die on the vine, right? If you don't pick them when they're ripe and you let them on there too long, they will rot, okay? So I get that too. That's part of it too. You got to know when to pull that trigger. But let me ask you this, Hector.
Go ahead.
We're talking about George Lombard Jr. and his defense and all this stuff and all this possibility, right? And that he might be available next year, if not for starting day, maybe by the trade deadline as a call-up or something. So let me ask you this. Why would you then, as a Yankees general manager or as the Yankees front office, trade for Nolan Arenado, who has 6 years left on his contract, who will then block George Lombard Jr., Jazz Chisholm will block George Lombard Jr., and Anthony Volpe will block George Lombard Jr. When you know you have this guy getting ready in the minors, does it not make all the sense in the world of why they are looking for a short-term solution or a stopgap, or let's figure it out, let's platoon, let's do something, because we have a future possible all-star level third baseman in our system for basically free?
Yeah. I think what you were saying, he has 3 years left, not 6. I think that's what Jacob was pointing out in the chat.
Thank you. My bad.
Shout out to Jacob Pachuzzi also. Appreciate you, Jacob. Always in the chat, helping us out. John the Beagle Dad. What's up, folks? How the heck is I love this person's profile pic. Every time I see the Beagle in the chat, I got to highlight the Beagle. Shout out to John the Beagle Dad. But like Jacob Pachuzzi pointed out with Anthony Volpe, Anthony was already at AAA when he got called up. Lombard, a year away. The fact that he is even in the conversation is amazing. And as of right now, as a 19-year-old, George Lombard Jr. is in the 90th when you look at the top 100 prospects. By the end of the season, that's going to jump up. George Lombard Jr., by the end of the season, will be a top 50 prospect in Major League Baseball. That's a guarantee. When you look at his makeup, everything coming out of Yankee spring training, especially when I was down there, was this guy carries himself like a player from the 80s. This guy carries himself like a player that was born in a different era and a different time period. And you can tell that this young man grew up around major league players. He grew up with his father being in Major League Baseball. You can tell that George Lombard Jr. was born to play baseball. And like Cameron Maben said, if you guys think George Lombard Jr. is great or is going to be great, wait till you see his younger brother, because his younger brother is a better version of George Lombard Jr. And that's how it always is. It's always the younger brother, the youngest, or if it's always 3, it's always that last one that's always the better version. I'm talking about baseball. I'm talking about baseball. I'm talking about baseball. I'm talking about baseball.
Okay.
I want to shout out my guy Richie Squires with the $20 super chat. I appreciate you helping us keep the lights on. He says, Hector and Gracie, salute. Now about Lombard, who is better, Lombard or Peraza or Cabrera? Just saying. I say after the All-Star break, like they did with Volpe. For me, shout out to you, Richie Squires. Appreciate you. Again, thank you guys for helping us with the super chats. Thank you for helping us with the likes, the subscriptions. We just passed over 100 people watching us, 56 on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 5K. But for me, with George Lombard Jr., his age is a big factor of how important he is. He at 19 years old, I don't think he's ready to crack the big league club, especially from the offensive side of things. I think starting day, it should be Peraza. Let Cabrera be that Swiss Army knife coming off of the bench. We've seen Peraza. He looked good in spring training. I think he's hitting close to 400, if not 400 from the last time I checked. Defensively, he's a stud. Offensively, the athleticism that he has as well, that's something that we desperately need in that lineup. For me, as of right now, Lombard is the future, but I would have Peraza be the starting third baseman, let Cabrera be the guy coming off the bench, and let George Lombard Jr. marinate and get ready for his big league call-up in the future.
I completely agree with Hector. I want Peraza to get his chance. I want him to be the starting third baseman. I love Oswaldo Cabrera. I love him on the team. He will definitely be on my team.
That's my guy.
But he will be a fill-in and a utility, which is what he loves to do and what he wants to do. And Lombard, I think out of all 3 of these players, Lombard has the highest upside. but not yet. I don't want to pick the tomato too soon to go with my, analogy. But I love what I'm seeing from Lombard. I'm super excited about him. And I mean, I would just be thrilled if he lit up AA this year, got maybe promoted at the end of the year to AAA, which would be an unprecedented rise through the minors, and then made the starting roster next year would be incredible, right? It would be incredible. It's a lot of pressure to put on a kid, but that would be thrilling to me. But for this year, I want Peraza to get his shot. We have nothing to lose by giving him a chance. And definitely keep Cabrera on the team. And yeah, so I agree with Hector.
Because I remember vividly our conversations from last year at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And I was like, George Lombard Jr. is untouchable. And you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with the prospects being untouchable. I was like, Grace, I love you so much. But that's the passion that not only Grace has, but every other Yankee fan has as well. As the same passion that I have, as the same passion Jacob Petruzzi has, as the same passion Grace and every other Yankee fan that is out there. We just want to see our team improve. We just want to see the best version of our team. And last year at the trade deadline, yeah, I was 50-50 when it came to trading George Lombard Jr. because of I knew at the time what our necessities were. We needed a first baseman and we needed a reliever. And I'm glad we didn't trade him to Tampa Bay. There's one rule that I have. If the Tampa Bay Rays are calling you up about any of your prospects from your system, you hang up the phone on them, you block their phone number, and you invest whatever money you have into that prospect to make sure they develop into a big league player. Because if the Tampa Bay Rays are scouting you, if the Tampa Bay Rays are looking at your Rule 5 draft guys, that means that you have something cooking. That means that you have a nice prospect that you shouldn't let go in your system. And I'm glad that the Yankees didn't trade George Lombard Jr. because if he was with the Tampa Bay Rays in spring training doing what he's doing right now, Yankee fans on Twitter would have been losing their ever-loving mind.
But here's the difference between you and me, Hector, and this is not a better or worse. This is just different. I wouldn't have cared if we'd won the World Series last year. If we would have beaten the Dodgers, New York, LA, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, if we would have won that World Series and we lost George Lombard Jr. and George Lombard Jr. went on with the Tampa Bay Rays to win MVP and become a perennial all-star and do all this, I wouldn't have given a... And that's just the difference between you and me. Because I would have had a World Series pennant hanging up here instead of American League champions, which I'm proud of the boys. I'm proud of what you did, okay? But I wouldn't have cared. And that's just what makes us a little bit different. But
I got some video from Brian Hoke about Brian Cashman and his pressure that he did with the media. Shout out to Jacob, who says, Hector and Grace, with DJ shut down, Peraza has to be the third baseman, right? If they give it to Cabrera, you're taking away his biggest talent, which is his flexibility. And this is why when I had the conversation with Aaron Boone about Oswaldo Cabrera, was his biggest ability is availability. And that was me poking the bear with DJ LeMahieu, because DJ LeMahieu, the one thing he hasn't given us is availability. And with DJ LeMahieu going out, and he will be out of baseball like regimens or whatever baseball activities for the next couple of weeks until they figure out what's going on with his hamstring, I think DJ LeMahieu, his time with the Yankees are done. I know we spoke about it on with his calf on our last show. I don't think any Yankee fan should expect anything for DJ LeMahieu now.
Let me look it up. Heck, I heard the results this morning of DJ LeMahieu, and his calf is like a first or second.
It's a first grade. It's a first grade strain. That's what I pulled it up on the. Yeah, it was a first grade strain.
There you go.
According to Greg Joyce. So it is what it is when it comes to DJ LeMahieu. I wish him the best. Like my guy Keith says, shout out to my guy Keith Saunders in the building. DFA DJ LeMahieu. Absolutely, brother. So I got that video from Brian Cashman. I want to play it real quick. If it's on the screen, hold on one second. This is from our good friend Brian Hoke, the Hokemeister. So we're going to hear what Cashman says about Giancarlo Stanton.
Was there any consideration to getting those during the offseason? Or?
The complaints didn't come up until obviously right before camp. So,
Brian, do you have any kind of an idea on a timetable for this? I mean, he said he had not swung a bat for 4 weeks or so before.
yeah, I think it was 3 weeks before camp. So ultimately he was dealing with it in the end of last year, and obviously thought we were in a good place, and I think he was feeling like in a good place, but then it reared its ugly head, about 3 weeks before camp, and is my understanding, and so now we're dealing with it. So, give it the time it needs, and we'll clearly look forward to getting him back at some point, but obviously in the near term that won't be the case.
Surgery ever discussed in this? I think that's could be a 2 or 3 month recovery for that.
It'd be a last resort. It's always, again, like everything else you approach things with, the right word would be, but I can't rule out a surgery, but I know it's not recommended in the front end of this thing. But obviously, if you have a number of different failed attempts, then you start looking at different ways of intervention.
I asked that because he said that he played in pain last year and he's prepared to do that again this year if he has to. Or do you think that this second shot might make it that he's not in pain all year?
I don't know. I mean, obviously the PRP injections are designed to help the healing process, and you hope that's the case, but you just have to let it all. A, you have to let it take, and B, you have to let it play out, and then hopefully you get a positive resolution to it. Like in most things, you're dealing with, unless it's like a hamstring or stuff like that. It's just you're in the little bit of the unknown, and you're trying to treat everything conservatively, and you hope for the best, but you have to give it the time to play out first so you know where you're sitting.
So you expect him back here tomorrow?
I think he'll travel back to Tampa. Whether he's here by tomorrow to be in front of you guys or not, that's remains to be seen. I know we're going on the East Coast, but he's heading back to Tampa, and he'll be here this weekend. But the travel schedule for him is, I don't know. It's not like he can do much anyway. So,
Brian, what options do you feel you have in the DH?
And I think when Cashman was talking about him returning to the East Coast, the Yankees would be in the East Coast. I think he's referring to the Yankees in Florida because they're traveling, and that part of spring training they're going to, or the spring is on the east side of Florida. Tampa, where the Yankees are at, are more towards the west, central, more west coast. Anything St. Pete, like Dunedin, where the Blue Jays play, is more center than anything. So that's what I think he was talking about. But when it comes to Giancarlo Stanton, what do you expect him to say? Even if Giancarlo Stanton was feeling this pain in the offseason, he was trying to wait it out to see what happens. It sucks. I wish he would have got the PRP injections in the offseason, but it was a wait and see approach for the Yankees with their medical staff, and they waited, and it just didn't work out. And like Keith said, you could tell Cashman was pissed about it. He wished he knew about this injury earlier so he could have adjusted. Absolutely. And that's where the Yankees are right now, trying to adjust to the Giancarlo Stanton news. And one thing I want to say, from an inside source, the JD Martinez stuff that Grace and I was talking about on the last show, and just a lot of the stuff that's speculating right now, it's not true. It's just reporters that are saying that he would be a good fit for the Yankees. JD Martinez would not be a good fit for the Yankees. You got to look at it like this. Last year with the New York Mets, JD Martinez was in this same little weird area where he was still a free agent during spring training. I think he signed with the Mets towards the last week of spring training, and it took him a month of being in the minors and AAA before he was able to make it to the big league roster. So even if the Yankees were to sign JD Martinez, he wouldn't be ready to start the season with the team. That's one. Secondly, if Giancarlo Stanton comes back, you're just going to have to eat that money you signed JD to, because JD Martinez is not a bench player. I think the perfect person for the job, for the DH spot, is Dominic Smith. Like Keith just put it in the chat. Dominic Smith has had an amazing spring training. He's hitting close to 400, if I'm not mistaken. Gary Phillips asked Aaron Boone, this was earlier in spring training before any of the injuries. Gary Phillips, when he asked how Dominic Smith can contribute in Yankees camp, Aaron Boone said it would take a lane opening it up. In other words, some injuries. The injuries have occurred. Dominic Smith is making the most of his chance right now. And if I had to put money on it, I think Dominic Smith will be the DH opening day.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Personally, I wouldn't just give him the DH job every day, but I wouldn't be opposed to having him rotate around in the DH spot, utilizing it to allow Aaron Judge some days, as well as Cody Bellinger some days, as well as Ben Rice some days, and Dom Smith. I think it's probably going to go that way. Which is going to be new and different. Hi, Eli. New and different for the Yankees since Giancarlo has been the DH every day, virtually when he's healthy for years. So this is going to be really different. This is going to be a different look. Being able to rotate the DH around oh my God.
I want to shout out my guy Crackle Nuts, who says, Hector, I'd rather you play third base than DJ LeMahieu. Crackle Nuts, I'd rather you play third base than DJ LeMahieu. Shout out to my guy Jose Medina in the chat, who says, I'd rather see Ben Rice. Dom never did ish anywhere. Rather give a youngster a chance. I think you will see a lot of Ben Rice as a backup catcher, as rotating with first base, maybe as a DH as well. I just think when you look at Dom Smith, what he's done at spring training, you know, it's like when the Yankees signed Marwin Gonzalez and we invited him to spring training and he cracked the big league roster with the team. I think that's the same lane Dom Smith is in right now. I think with Ben Rice, it's easier to send him back down and up just because he has options. So if you do start the season with Dom Smith on the roster, if he doesn't work out after a month, you could just cut him and you could bring up Ben Rice. It just gives the Yankees more flexibility. But yeah, I would rather see some of the young guys like Jose Medina was just saying, rotating into that DH spot. But Dom Smith he's done everything that any big leaguer could do to win a job. He's a guy that he's played first base. He's played in the outfield as well. Wasn't the best in the outfield, but he has been working with a track and field coach in the offseason to improve his running in the outfield. So there's that. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I love Ben Rice. I want to see more Ben Rice. That just reminded me of something that I saw on Twitter. Can I tell you?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I just saw something on Twitter and yesterday, and I thought, oh my God, I got to bring this up on the show tomorrow. Yordan Alvarez. You think he's any good? You think he's any good? Because I'm obsessed with him. I think he's incredible. And I think he's phenomenal.
You're talking about Yordan Alvarez from Houston. I think he's phenomenal. He's a great one of the top bats in the American League. Yeah,
100%. And I would take him on the Yankees like this. I would love. And when he comes to bat, I'm nervous like I was when Big Papi came to bat back in the day. I'm like holding my breath, like, okay, guys, we can do this.
That's a guy that's strictly a DH though. He can't play the outfield to save his life. And with the Yankees,
he had some first base a little too. But listen to this.
Here's
my point.
Go ahead.
Spring training 2025. In spring training 2025, Yordan Alvarez is batting 111 with no home runs, no ribbies, no stolen bases, and a 222 OPS. So everybody, I saw yesterday a bunch of Yankees being like, Yordan Alvarez is cooked and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? I'm like, y'all are wild out there in these Twitter streets saying Yordan Alvarez is cooked and you want Spencer Jones on the starting day roster. Like this is wild. This is why you cannot take spring too seriously. Okay. Because if you were to look at these numbers for Yordan Alvarez, you'd be like, this guy sucks. He's incredible. He's one of the best hitters in the game right now. Top, 10, 15, if you want to say. I mean, he's amazing. But if you look at his spring numbers, you'd be like, he's not good. So the same thing goes for the opposite side. If you have somebody batting 450 in spring, does that mean they're going to be incredible on your major league team? No. Let's all just take it with a grain of salt and enjoy spring for what it is, which is practice.
I think Mark Gates just shout out to Mark Gates in the chat as well. And Jose Medina was trying to throw the fingers up for you, Grace, to read it. Jose Medina was trying to get it, but Mike Perez commented right after. But Mark Gates says, Why the hell is Babooni hitting Wells leadoff instead of Dominguez, who has a 30.4 elite sprint speed faster than Bobby Witt? I don't get it. Shout out to Mark Gates for that one. That Babooni had me chuckling. I see the point, right? And it's a head scratcher. The thing with Austin Wells as a leadoff hitter is he's done it in the minors. The first game I ever saw Austin Wells with the Tampa Bay Tarpons, both Austin Wells and Jason Dominguez was in the same lineup. Do you know who led off? Austin Wells was leading it off, and Jason Dominguez was right behind them. And it's something that they've done in the minor league level. I would rather Jason Dominguez because of his speed, because of his plate discipline. I look at it as the Yankees just wanting to get more at bats for Austin Wells in the spring training game than Jason Dominguez. That's the only way logically that could make sense to me. If this was a regular season game, I'll be scratching my head like, why is Austin Wells leading off when we need Austin Wells to be in the middle of the lineup, protecting Aaron Judge and protecting our big boppers, if you ask me personally. But no, I would rather Jason Dominguez be the leadoff hitter. Opening day, I think Jazz Chisholm will be the leadoff hitter. At some time during the season, Jason Dominguez will be the leadoff hitter.
I think that if Austin Wells continues looking the way he's looking right now and building on that, going into the start of the year, the Yankees get off to a good head start. He turns a lot of heads, and he's the all-star catcher for the American
He looks good.
League.
He looks good.
It could happen. I really, really think so. If he keeps the momentum going, at least to the first half of the season, he'll be the American League all-star catcher. He could have that level of a season this year. I was shocked when I saw him leading off. Shocked because they on one hand, Aaron Boone is like, Austin Wells is exhausted. He's tired. We're not going to play him. And then the next time we see him, he's leading off, which is an exhausting place in the lineup. An exhausting place, full of base running, full of, so I'm just confused. Like, is he tired or not? Because you said he was tired, and then you put him in leadoff. So I think we will see it this year. Can I say that? I think we will see Austin Wells hit leadoff. Do I agree with it? I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried about him getting tired again. But, he's seasoned. He knows what it takes. He went all the way to the World Series. Now he's learned a lot, coming off of that. And now it'll be the second time through with all the teams, and he's got a rapport with all the pitchers now, which he didn't have last year until Trevino got hurt. Even after that, he was still gaining rapport with all the pitchers. So maybe it'll be easier on him a little bit. Not easier, but less demanding mentally than it was last year. But I think we'll see it. I think Aaron Boone will do it. I think he will.
I just gotta say, I love like when me and Grace are like having this conversation, but then I look into the chat and I see people in the chat having their own private conversation. I love it. Shout out to Nathaniel Crenshaw. Shout out to Mike Perez. Shout out to my brother Keith Saunders. They're going back and forth in the chat. I love it. Nathaniel, you got to join me on the TikTok spaces that I be on, because I have some Dodger fans and friends over there. You will love the conversation with the Dodger fans I have over there. My guy Gabe, Dodger Babe, Davey Lopez or whatever. You will love the conversations over there. Also, I'm going to drop the TikTok link in the chat right now. Guys, make sure you guys are following us on TikTok. I do TikTok lives. And I bring up people like open panels to the TikTok. You guys can come up over there. LI Yankee King's been up a couple of times. And shout out to LI Yankee King, the only troll in the Yankee universe I acknowledge is my brother LI Yankee King. Shout out to LI Yankee King, who says, I'm okay with Austin Wells leading it off and keeping the speed under Aaron Judge. You know what? If there's ever a time that LI Yankee King disagrees with the majority of Yankee fans, this is one of those times, because LI Yankee King seeing
under Aaron Judge,
like the speed behind Aaron Judge. Okay. Shout out to my guy, LI Yankee King. Of course, Keith. I know I love you, bro. Just know that. But when it comes to the conversation of Austin Wells and of the leadoff hitter Somebody put it in the chat right now. Hold on. Christian, appreciate you, Christian, who says it's not about speed. It's not just about speed. It's about on-base percentage. And when you look at Austin Wells, he had a better on-base percentage in that middle of the season last year than what we saw with Jason Dominguez towards the end of last year. And I think that's why they want to have him in the leadoff spot, if that makes sense.
They don't want people stealing bags in front of Aaron Judge. We saw that last year when they put Anthony Volpe in the leadoff spot and they told him, don't steal. And then we were all like, well, you're taking away one of his tools. You know, so you're right. If they don't want, a lot of other teams in the league, by the way, do want you to steal bags if you're the leadoff hitter. And they do want you to run. But for some reason, for whatever reason, the Yankees don't. So if that philosophy remains in place, then it makes sense to just care about on-base percentage, which Jason Dominguez, by the way, has one of the highest on-base percentages like over his career. That on the squad. And if he makes the adjustment quickly-ish, he should still have a super high on-base percentage, in which case he would be a natural fit for leadoff.
Crackle Nuts, you're not still in 40, you still in 80, baby. Shout out to my guy Crackle Nuts in the chat. I love Crackle Nuts. But no, when it I'm just dying from Crackle Nuts. If I'm the opposing manager, right, on the opposite team, the Baltimore, say whatever, and I'm facing the New York Yankees. If Jason Dominguez is on first, if Josh Chisholm is on first, and Aaron Judge is the 2-hole hitter, if Anthony Volpe still, go ahead. I'm walking Judge every time. If you steal in front of Aaron Judge and there's an open base, as an opposing manager, I rather take my chances against Aaron Judge with a runner on first base. I'd rather take my chances with Cody Bellinger hitting with runners on first and second, nobody out, than Aaron Judge with a runner on first, and I have to pitch to him with a runner on first. I'd rather face Cody Bellinger with runners in scoring position on first and second than Aaron Judge with nobody out and a man on first.
And that's why I would bat Aaron Judge third. But
that's the thing. That's why last year it was always a head scratcher, right? Yeah. Because if you had Anthony Volpe leading it off with Juan Soto as your 2-hole hitter, if Anthony Volpe's still second base and you walk Juan Soto, you still have to face Aaron Judge with runners in scoring position and nobody out. That's why last year it always frustrated me when they never stole or never ran in the leadoff spot, and that was always frustrating. This year I understand it, because you don't have that much protection behind Aaron Judge. I love Cody Bellinger. I hope Cody Bellinger has a phenomenal season. I think teams are more scared of facing Judge than they are scared of facing Cody Bellinger, if that makes any type of sense.
That's right. No, you're exactly right. And I think a great thing to remember is that if you could have anyone in the entire league to bat behind Judge, you pick Shohei Ohtani, right? But other than Shohei Ohtani,
Jose Ramirez,
maybe. But even in that exam, even if Jose Ramirez was behind Judge, I'd rather face J-Ram than Aaron Judge.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe Shohei Ohtani, but other than him, nobody can protect Aaron Judge, and so don't even try. Just know that. Know that teams are going to walk him. So you must present them with either walking Aaron Judge to load the bases, in which case a bloop single will score 2 or something, But you gotta make the choice impossible for them. And that's why I would put Aaron Judge third.
I'm right there with you. Listen, in a perfect world, Aaron Judge will be the 3-hole hitter. But in Major League Baseball right now in 2025, we understand that you want to get the most at-bats from the second spot in the lineup, and you want your best hitter to be in that second spot, and that's why the Yankees want to go with Aaron Judge. It's frustrating. It's annoying. None of us Yankee fans like it or whatever. But Grace, I have something that I want to share with everybody. I've been going through footage from spring training, and I put together a nice little 10-second, 11-second, a 15-second video. So I just want to play it real quick, and we'll be right back. That's the wrong video. Jesus Christ.
Well,
I didn't even know where's
quick.
that video at.
Did you
That
guys
was
catch
very
that?
quick. That was very quick. I can't even find the video no more.
Oh no!
It's crazy.
Just imagine the video, you guys.
Yeah, just imagine the video. Just imagine the video, because I'm a dum-dum. I can't get the
you're
video now.
not.
So
Don't say
anyway,
that.
we're gonna have to wait for the next episode, because I don't know where the video is at, and it would be awkward if I have to spend 20 minutes to look for it right now. But anywho, before we get out of here, right? Because I'm trying to find more. Oh, there it is. I know there was something else we had to talk about, and I knew this was something that was going to get Grace a little bit upset. So that's why I have it here. So Gleyber Torres,
Oh God.
every Yankee fan favorite former Yankee. So I'm gonna just zoom in on the bottom here. Gleyber Torres is looking for a fresh start with the Tigers, making it clear that his divorce from the Bombers was not exactly amicable. I feel I deserve to be with an organization that wants me. I'm here now, and that's the reason I'm here, he said in his last dig at Brian Cashman and the New York Yankees. Grace Monroe, how do you feel about that little takeaway from Gleyber Torres?
I think that you're right. The Yankees didn't want you anymore. So that's it. You're right. It
That's
was
it.
one-sided. It was one-sided. You wanted to come back and they didn't even call you. So as a person, are you going to keep bringing up your ex that dumped you and didn't care? You're going to keep bringing it up forever? Or are you going to move on and hold your head up high and say, you know, like, stop talking about your ex-wife or whatever. In that analogy, they brought up divorce. Like, okay, like, that's sad and pathetic. Don't bring it up anymore. Like, go live your life. Like, you know what I mean?
I just want to say, to be somewhat fair, the reporters were asking him, and obviously the reporters was going to ask just to get a storyline, just to get a clip.
Okay.
So he's answering the questions that I asked to him. But Gleyber Torres, I know you're not going to see this message that I'm going to say to you, but Gleyber Torres, I appreciate your time with the New York Yankees, right? It didn't work out. You could tell Gleyber Torres wanted to be a Yankee. He wanted to stay in New York. Copy. I understand that. It didn't work out with the New York Yankees. Hopefully it works out for you in Michigan, right? With the Detroit Tigers, right? And you will have to be with the Tigers for this year, maybe in the future. But one thing I do know, they don't got good food in Michigan, my guys. So you'll be suffering out there having to eat whatever the hell they have. What? I'm gonna Google. What do they eat in Michigan? What do people eat in Michigan? I don't know. Do you know, Grace?
No.
Okay, Detroit style pizza, which is okay. An olive burger. Shout out to those who like olive burgers. I think that's fire.
An olive
Hold
burger?
on, I'm gonna screen share this so people don't think I'm just making shit up. Coney Island hot dog. Oh wait, it's not on the screen. There it is. They got the Coney Island hot dog. It's crazy how you're in another state and you have to say you have a Coney Island hot dog. That's sad. What else they eat out there? Frankenmuff chicken. I have no idea what that is. Frankenmuff chicken, Michigan.
The
It's
future's looking bleak.
yeah. The future
The
is
food
looking bleak.
bleak.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Gleyber, that you have to go to Michigan and have to eat that horrible food
I'm not sorry,
out
Gleyber.
there.
I hate you for not moving to third base and at least trying when we acquired Jazz Chisholm Jr. to play second base and thus losing the World Series because of your ego and your worrying about your free agency year, in which case you ended up signing a one-year deal with the Detroit Tigers. So no, I'm not sad and I'm not happy and whatever. I'm mad. Whatever. I'm still mad.
Mike Perez, what do people in Michigan eat the same as people in LA? Shout out to Mike. Keith Saunders said, it's cold as F in Michigan. Good luck, Gleyber. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Good
enjoy
luck,
your
Gleyber
beard,
Torres.
which, by the way, you could have on the Yankees now. So now you can't use that to lob it up against us like you tried to.
Yeah, he does look a lot. He got more aura with his beard. That's the one thing I gotta say.
Ew,
But
negative 100.
Anthony Medina says Ohtani's average in the World Series 106. Judge's average in the World Series 222, 4 hits, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. Absolutely, Medina. And Dodger fans aren't pointing that out. Nathaniel Crenshaw, you know I love you, baby, in the chat, but Dodger fans, they love trolling Yankee fans. But the one thing they love to leave out is the fact that Shohei Ohtani was absent in the World Series. I understand he was injured. I get that. You know, you never want to root for injuries, but Shohei Ohtani was absent in the World Series just like Aaron Judge. Grace, I found that video, so I'm going to play the video and, 15 seconds. Here we go.
Skip to the good part.
You've arrived at your destination.
Can we skip?
I just got to say, Aaron Judge, I love Aaron Judge, the way that Aaron Judge interacts with the Yankee fans, with the young Yankee fans. Grace, it is a great sight to see. That's the one thing I can say about Judge. The captain deserves all the credit in the world, bro.
Yeah, y'all, Hector made that video with footage that he filmed when he was on the field with all the players and the front office people. I mean, Hector is doing big things, y'all. Drop some emojis in the chat for Hector. He's out there in them streets.
I wish I would have left.
What is it called?
I wish I would have left. Yeah, eye in the sky. I wish I would have left a day later, because a day after, that's when Joe McFlies and John Boy was there. And me and Joe, I'll be in his TikTok live, like messaging him, and me and him, we going back and forth. And he messaged me the day, he's like, yo, you gonna be at spring training? I'm like, bro, I'm back in New York City, my guy. So shout out to Joe McFly, shout out to John Boy Media. Joe shows a lot of love to Latino sports. If you guys can, make sure you guys go to latinosports.com. And read the articles that we go there. Just visiting the website helps us out with the traffic on Google and Google AdSense. So just once a day, latinosports.com. We have a lot of articles that are coming out. And you guys, boxing, NBA, MLB, it's a lot of articles that you guys will love. The link to the website is in the description of this video. Grace, any last words, any last topics you got to get off your head before we get out of here? I know we started with the gunshots, right? With the Spencer Jones gunshots.
I just want to say, disclaimer, I cannot be held responsible for the things that I say about Gleyber Torres when Hector knows that is a sensitive subject for me and I cannot control my emotions. But that being said, did you see Devin Williams day before yesterday when he was pitching?
Yes, the gyro ball looked amazing.
Didn't he look amazing? And he added like 2 inches of vertical movement already with Matt Blake. Like, he looks filthy and disgusting. It's gonna be a great year. Knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. He looks amazing. On wood. Will Lauren, again, we got to look at him. He looks amazing. There's a lot of things coming out of spring. Really, really exciting things, guys. We've won 12 games or something. I know it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. But there's a lot of hope in the air. And it's exactly 3 weeks from today. We will be facing the Brewers in Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Nestor Cortez, Devin Williams, right? I mean, 3 weeks from today, y'all, we're so close. We're almost there.
And just to let everybody know, I've made the decision, being a part of Latino sports, I'm able to like go to games as a part of media with credentials and stuff like that. I made the conscious decision for the opening week. I'm just going as a fan, because I've mentioned this to Grace. I love doing what I do, but it's what people don't understand is when I'm there early and I'm filming and I'm getting B-roll and I'm getting stuff for Latino sports. When I get back into the press box, I can't watch the game. I don't get to enjoy the game because I got to go to work. I have to cut up videos. I have to edit videos. I have to post stuff on the website. I have to post stuff on social media. So by the time I'm finished doing everything on my phone, I look up, it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, and I lose the enjoyment of watching the game. So because it's opening week, I'm going to every game that I can as a fan, Going to be with the fans. Shout out to my guy Keith McPherson. I will be with the Bleacher Creatures. Shout out to the Bodega Mafia. Shout out to all of them. Shout out to my guy Mark, who starts the roll call. So I will be there opening weekend as a fan. During the week with the Arizona Diamondbacks series, I will be working as a part of media, but I just wanted to take that first opening series to be there as a fan. I know in the future I'll have opportunities to go to opening day as a member of media. I just want to be able to have this opening weekend to be able to be with the fans because of like working and stuff like that. And I know I'm going to be diving into work this season, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that'll be cool, Hector. That'll be cool, especially to start out the year. You know, you'll get your mind right as the fan at the beginning of the year, and then you'll start going to work. So that's cool.
Because I can't. And one thing, I can't wear like sports, like I can't wear any of the team gear in the media box. So even if I wanted to like hang out with the fans as a fan, I wouldn't be able to like wear my Yankee hat or my Yankee gear or anything like that. And I'm not trying to walk around with fucking 3 different bags so I could change an outfit every time I leave the media room. I'm not doing that shit. But no, I look forward to opening day. If there's anybody who's going to be there opening day weekend, make sure you guys hit me up. I will be linking up with fans outside of Yankee Stadium doing some content. So guys, make sure you guys hit me up. To Grace's point about Will Warren, shout out to Will Warren. He looks phenomenal. Yeah. He's worked on his mechanics. He looks like a totally different new pitcher. Grace, Will Warren started in the rotation, 6-man. What's your thoughts on him real quick before we get out? I know you talked about him for a little bit.
You put me on the spot.
I know that.
I don't know what they're going to do with Stroman, if they're still looking to move him or not. I think they're going to go with Stroman over Warren just because they can. And if they are looking to trade him, it would only devalue him to not use him over Warren, right? So that doesn't make sense. If you're trying to trade something, then you want to keep the value high. So they're probably going to go with Stroman over Warren. But I think Warren looks amazing. He's made great strides since last year. Huge potential for the future. He'll definitely be part of the season for sure. And also I wanted to say that we saw Garrett Cole pitch, and he looks great. That was a big relief. I remember last time you said, "What are you looking for?" And I was like, "I'm looking for Garrett Cole." I'm a little nervous because of the injury. I don't even want to say injury and Garrett Cole in the same sentence, but what he had to navigate through last year. I wanted to see it with my own eyes that he was okay. He looks great. So that was a huge relief for me too.
I know that you said you watched that podcast with Corey Kluber, but I've been watching some clips from it, and this was one that stood out to me. Him talking about his bullpen session with the Yankees greats, and this is something that I had bookmarked and I was saving for the end to go over. So we go just listen to this, and then we go get ready to wrap things up.
Ron Guidry, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, watching our bullpens the other day. You know, like, it's wild. Moose is coming in later. Asada's coming in. I mean, like, those are the players we emulated as kids, right? Like those, and they set the standard. It's like, you know, you just get to be a part of something greater. You get to be in the, you know, in the same category as the rest of these championship teams.
And
Daddy Cole.
when being there, and you saw Andy Pettit throwing BP, Roger Clemens, CC Sabathia, gathering like those 3 legends right there. I saw their conversation with Max Fried, with Carlos Rodon. I have footage standing next to Carlos, walking with him as CC Sabathia is telling him stories about Brett Gardner. That right there is different. And you can't put a price on it. Having those legends for you to soak up and just listen to them. You saw when Max Fried had his start right after he was out of the game. Where'd he go? He went right there next to Roger Clemens and sat down. Now, people can love and hate Roger Clemens, whatever. PEDs, steroids, broken bat to Mike Piazza, whatever you want to do. That conversation, that valuable information is priceless, and no organization can replicate what the New York Yankees have when it comes to their legends coming into spring training. Every team has legends that are legends in their fans' eyes, but there's no legends like a Yankee legend, point blank, period. To quote the movie The Sandlot, Legends heroes live forever, but legends never die, or whatever the fuck they said in the movie. But yeah, there you go.
Heroes get remembered.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. There you go. Thank you, Grace, for helping me out.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. And part of the big reason why I'm a Yankees fan is because a little girl growing up in Gatesville, Texas, watched The Sandlot, and I was like, the Yankees are the coolest. And from that moment on, I was labeled a pariah growing up in Texas. But yeah, I mean, he's right. That's what the Yankees have that no other team has, right? The history, the legacy, the championship pedigree, all the years and the stories and all that stuff, the romance of it. You can tell that Garrett Cole is just a big old Yankees fan that now plays for the Yankees, and we love to see it. We just love Garrett Cole. You know, and he's right. It means something different when you win a championship in New York City. It means something different. And I'm like gonna tear up, not really, but like I want to tear up just because I want it for him so bad. And Big G and Aaron Judge. I just want it for them so bad. So hopefully we can get it this year.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, Grace. Garrett Cole and I, we share a birthday. I joke, I call him birthday bestie whenever I see him all the time. But I just want to say shout out to Garrett Cole. He grew up a Yankee fan. There's a lot of Yankees that are on that team that grew up a Yankee fan. Anthony Volpe as well. All of us, we grew up as we all started as a little snot-nosed kid that fell in love with this team, whether it was watching Derek Jeter and Jorge Posada and the Fab Five, whether it was watching Don Mattingly, whether it was watching Mickey Mantle. We all grew up watching this team. We all grew up falling in love with this team. And I look forward to the 2025 season. So, guys, make sure you guys are following us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you know when Grace and I are going live. Damien will be back. We're going to have on a lot of guests this upcoming season. It's going to be a great season. But until next time, folks, drink some water, say something positive about yourself, go outside and touch some grass. And until next time, I'm Hector.
I'm Grace Monroe.
This is Yankees Morning Brew. All you beautiful people in the chat, we love you. We appreciate you. And deuces.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.